Hello, welcome back. So into the session, let's go through module 10 challenge lab, which is automating infrastructure deployment. So I've started the lab. So let's get started. So let me close the terminal. After completing this lab, we should be able to deploy a virtual private cloud network layer using an AWS CloudFormation template, deploy an application layer by using AWS CloudFormation template, use Git to invoke AWS code pipeline and to create or update stakes from templates that are stored in AWS code commit, and duplicate network and application resources to another AWS region by using AWS CloudFormation. So when we start the lab, the following resources are already created for us in the AWS account. So we have an EC2 instance in which we have this AWS Cloud9, and then we have this CloudFormation. We have this CloudFormation template repo, code commit repository. We have Cafe Network pipeline, code pipeline. So we have a couple of pipelines, and we have Cafe app pipeline and Cafe code pipeline, and we have custom pipeline role and custom CFN role. Okay. So let's get started with task one. Let's start with by creating an AWS CloudFormation template from scratch. So in this task, we will create an AWS CloudFormation template that creates an S3 bucket. You will then run an AWS command line interface command that created the AWS CloudFormation stack. So let's start with this. Let's navigate to AWS Cloud9 service. Let's open AWS first. So let's open Cloud9 and let's open the Cloud9. So let's pull closer this one. So navigate to AWS Cloud9. We have opened that. In the AWS Cloud9 ID, choose file, new file, then choose file, save, and then save the new file as s3.yml. So we need to create a new file. So let's go to Cloud9. So here, let's create a new file, new file, and then file, save, s3.yml, and let's save this. So we now have this s3.yml file. So at the top of the file, add the following two lines. So let's copy this and let's paste there. Okay. And then next, add the following three lines to your template. So let's go in copy and let's add this. Okay. So make sure that you keep the correct number of spaces in each indentation level. Okay. So add the description such as Cafe S3 template. Let's copy this. Let's add the description here. So now let's save this file and let's run this by using this. Let's say AWS configurer that get region. So this will basically give us the region we are currently in. So it should be US East 1, correct? And then let's create a stack. So here if you see, using this AWS CLI, it is running this CloudFormation script and it's running create stack command. And for the stack name, it's providing create bucket. And in the template body, we are passing this s3.yml. So the file which we just created. So let's run. Then it returns us the stack ID. So with this, we should a new stack should be created in the CloudFormation. Okay. So this is how the template is being created. So from here, we run the template. So it will go to the CloudFormation, then it will create a stack, and from the stack, it will create this S3 bucket. So let's go to CloudFormation. So we have this stack, create bucket. So let's go to event. So it creates all this. And let's go to resources. It creates this S3 bucket and so on, right? So navigate to S3 service page and observe the bucket that your template created. And let's go to this. Let's go and answer this question. So for this, let's go to detail. Let's go to show. And let's access the multiple choice questions. So was an S3 bucket created even if you did not specify the name of the bucket? If so, what name was given to it? So if we go to this S3, so it says some name and some random character, right? So the answer should be, so it didn't use any logical ID, but it used the name in the form of stack name and some random letters number, right? So what region was the bucket created in and why was it created in that region? So it was created in the AWS region in which the CloudFormation's create stack command was run, right? So here it was the region US East 1. So this bucket is also in US East 1. You see? So question number 3, to define an S3 bucket, how many lines of code did you enter in the resources section of the template file? If you go here, You see, we just add 2 lines. The answer should be 2 lines. Okay. So I'll submit at the end of this lab. So let's continue. So task 2, configuring the bucket as a website and updating the stack. In the next task, we will update the AWS CloudFormation template. The update will configure the S3 bucket to host a static website. This task is similar to the rest of the result from the Module 3 challenge lab. In that challenge lab, you created and configured the S3 bucket manually by using the AWS Management Console. However, in this lab, you will instead configure the bucket by using an AWS CloudFormation template. Okay, so let's set the ownership, control, and public access, and then upload the static website to the bucket. To do this, run the following command in the base terminal. So let's do this. So let's copy the zip file. Let's go to the terminal and let's paste. So it should download us the zip file, and we need to run this command to unzip. So this will unzip the file, and let's go to the static folder, and then from here we need to copy this. Let's paste it here. Here, instead of this bucket name, we need to put the bucket name which was created for us. So this is the bucket name. Let's go to here. Okay, so let's press enter. And then set the public access block. So let's copy this and let's paste it again. And let's replace the bucket name. Let's press enter. And let's copy all the files. So let's replace the name of the bucket again. So with this, all the files should be uploaded here. Let's go to object and let's refresh. So we have the files right here. So let's continue. You should see numerous upload messages in the command output. In the new browser tab, open AWS CloudFormation template documentation for defining the S3 bucket resources. So let's open this. So using this documentation as a reference, modify your S3.yaml template to set the following characteristic on the S3 bucket resource. So here, let's go to Amazon Simple Storage. Let's go to bucket. So here, what we have to do is attach a deletion policy that will retain the bucket. So we need a deletion policy. So it should be, let's say, deletion policy. So here, so we have this. So let's copy this and add it in the YAML file. So for that, where should we have? It should be inside this S3 bucket, right? So here, let's remove this. Okay, so one thing is done. Configure the bucket to host a static website with index.html. This should be simple too. Let's say index.html. So for that, we need to have website configuration. Let's use the YAML file. For that, we need to have this website configuration, and we need to have, so before that, we need to have this properties. So we don't have properties here. So properties, sorry. And then we need to copy the website configuration and index document as index.html. All right, so this should do. Also, to your AWS CloudFormation template, add an output that provides the website URL. Again, consult the example. So we need the website URL. So we should have the output. So it should be this part, right? So let's copy this output, website URL, value, website URL. Okay. So let's add this website URL, value, description. So this should do. Okay. Save the changes to your std.yaml file. Validate your, let's go back and let's validate our YAML file. So to do that, let's go back to cd dot and then let's validate by using this command. So yes, so since we don't have any error, so we can go and deploy it. So to do that, we can simply use this command, and let's go to the Cloud9 and let's run this command. So if you go and see the our CloudFormation in the create bucket, if you go to the events, so we have this update in progress. So let's wait until this update is completed. So the update is completed. Okay, so let's browse the AWS CloudFormation. We have done this. Update is completed. and verify success. Does the stack output tab list an output URL? Yes, it should. Let me go and check. Let's go to the output. Yes, it does. Does that static website open? Let's open this in the new tab, and it should open the cafe website. Amazing. So we successfully opened the website, right? Okay, so let's continue with our challenge 2. So in this challenge 2, storing templates in a version control system. So until now we were just running the template by using the CLI. So now we should do by using this code commit. So let's clone this code commit repository that contains AWS CloudFormation template. So for that we need to go to code commit. So let's go to code commit. We have the CF templates. So we have these templates. So here we have couple of multiple templates. So based on this, we'll be creating new resources. So let's open the CFT report template start lab.yaml. So if we see the start lab, so this was the script that was used by CloudFormation to start this lab. So it opens the Cloud9 and it runs this Cloud9 inside this AWS. And then we have this code commit repo and we have this S3 bucket. So let's continue and let's go to repositories. And now it's time to clone the repo. So using this HTTPS, we can go and return to the AWS Cloud and code commit repository to your workspace. In the workspace, in the base terminal, let's say git clone. Let's say git clone. So now we have this CF template repo. So inside this we have template, like we have 3 templates. So we are able to clone the repository, which was in the code commit. So let's go ahead and continue. So let's go to the CF template folder in the Cloud9. CF template folder, and here we have templates file, right? So now, and let's run git status. So we don't have anything to commit because we don't have any change. Okay, so it's time for challenge lab. So using the continuous delivery service, create the network and API layers for the cafe. Okay, so creating a new network layer with AWS CloudFormation, code commit and code pipeline. So now it's time to create an AWS CloudFormation template that will create a VPC, public subnet, and other resources. So in the navigation pane of the AWS Cloud9 ID, expand the template directory. In the template directory, right-click template1.yaml and create a duplicate of it. Rename the duplicate to cafenetwork.yaml. So we need to rename this template1.yaml file to cafenetwork.yaml file. So let's do that. Template1, let's duplicate it. Okay, and let's rename it. And let's say cafenetwork.yaml, and then let's open it. So I think we are done with this one. Let's close with the others. And now, so in the text editor, open the cafenetwork.yaml and set the description to network layer for cafe. So let's do that. So I think I can close this. So this is the description. Let's say network layer for the cafe. So observe the AWS code pipeline details that were pre-configured in your account. So we can go to, let's close this one. So let's go to code pipeline. So it's here. Let's open the code pipeline. So here we have a couple of pipelines, Cafe App Pipeline and Cafe Network Pipeline. It wants us to go and choose the pipelines, and we have this Cafe App Pipeline and Cafe Network Pipeline, right? So let's analyze the source stage of the Cafe Network Pipeline. So let's go to Cafe Network Pipeline. And currently the build is failing. It's because we have all this. So let's go to edit and let's go to edit stage and let's go to edit. So if you see here, it's actually looking for the, if you see here, it says that it's looking for this cafenetwork.yaml file, right? So it is because of that we need to rename the file correctly, and the role name is custom cfn role and so on. Okay, so let's cancel, and let's discard. Heading tools, configurations. Actually, it is how it is looking like. So from the Cloud9 ID will be triggering, like when we git push, it will go to the git commit repository, and then this remote repository will run a template, and based on that it will run a CloudFormation script, and based on that it will go and create some stacks and run the resources. Okay, So let's go to our Cloud9 repo again. Hope like after changing this, you save this file and let's say git status. So we have this new file addition, right? And now let's add this. So this will add the new file to the staging area, and this will create a new commit. So if I say git status, so I have something new commit to be push. Okay. So now let's say git push. So after we push this, like if you go to the pipeline, this should be activated by itself because we pushed, like if you see this diagram, it says that when we push anything, cloud commit repository will execute certain pipelines, right? So when I commit something, it will trigger some pipeline, right? If I go to pipeline, if I refresh this, the deploy stage is currently executing, and this will execute a CloudFormation after we made a commit. So the pipeline runs this job, and then if we go and see our CloudFormation, so we should have this update cafe network. So this is stack information. So currently this is in create in progress. Let's go and see the event. So let's wait until this is completed. So we see this, it's currently being deployed. And if I refresh, it should completed by now. It's still deploying. So finally, after waiting for a couple of minutes, this update cafe network is completed. So we have this cafe VPC, and we should also have this subnet here. Cafe public subnet. Okay. So now let's continue with the next sections. So in the AWS CloudFormation console, confirm the update cafe network checks run. It should have. So yeah, we have checked this one. We also check the VPC console. So now it's time for updating the network stack. So let's add the following lines to the bottom of the cafe. Like let's copy this. And then let's add to the end of the file. Okay, so let's add that in the end of the file. Okay. So with this, let's commit git add templates git commit. So after this, the pipeline should be running. Okay, so it's currently running now, and it also successfully deployed. If you go to the CloudFormation, and then if you go to the events, and if we refresh this, so you see we have this update complete. And then after that, like we added an output, so we should see an output here. So we have done all this, so we see this the same output there. And now let's continue with task 3. So now it's time for defining an EC2 instance resource and creating the application stack. So in this task, we will create a new AWS CloudFormation template that will be used to create a stack. The new stack deploys a dynamic website for the cafe. The cafe app pipeline creates or updates the cafe app stack, which we push cafe app with the YAML template. So now what we have to do is in the Cloud9, we need to duplicate this template2.yaml in the template directory and rename the duplicate as a cafe app.yaml. For template2, let's duplicate, rename, and cafe app.yaml. Let's open this. Okay, so let's continue. Analyze existing template contents. Okay, so let's go to the template. So basically we have these parameters here. So parameters means this will be passed as a parameter. So we have this latest AMI ID and we have this cafe network string. So it should be of type parameter. And then we have a mapping. So here it says that if we are using the region US East 1, then it will choose the key pair of VOC key. If we're using the US West 2, then it will choose the Cafe Oregon for the key pair, right? Okay. And then here we have a single resource, Cafe SG security group. Basically, it enables the SSH HTTP access. And then the VPC will be from the import value, which we created in the previous. Okay, and here have this security group ingress. Here it have TCP port 80 and TCP port 22, and then in the output it's giving the web server public IP. Okay, so in the cafe app.yaml template, define the third parameter so that the user can choose between different instance type when they launch an EC2 instance. So let's go to here, and here we need to copy this instance type parameter, I think. So paste the parameter into your template, then modify the parameter so that it's permitted. Okay, so let's do that. So let's copy this and then let's go and add in the parameters. So instance type should be a string t2 micro, and I think here the default should be set to t2.small. Let's do that. So it should be t2.small. and the allowed value should be T3 small. So T2 micro, T2 micro, T2 dot small, and then T3 dot micro, T3 dot small. Okay, so the default should be T2 dot small. Correct. So let's check once again. T2 micro, T2 small, T3 micro, T3 small. T2 micro, T2 small, T3 micro, T3 small. Okay, and the default should be T2 small, right? So we have added the instance type parameter. So let's continue. I think we can close this. So in a new browser, let's open this AWS documentation and then use the information in that page as a reference. So back in the cafe app.yaml template, create a new EC2 instance resource that has the following characteristic. So we need to create an EC2 instance. Let's use this YAML. So it will be of type properties. So I think here we need to use a logic ID as cafe instance. So this is basically a logic ID. So this is a logic ID. Now inside this, I'll copy this type and property. Let's go here and let's have these properties. So now we need to include an image ID that refers to the latest AMID parameter. It should be image ID. So it's here. So let's copy this. Inside this properties, we need to add the image ID. So this will basically reference to the image ID which we have here, latest AMI ID. And for that, what we can do here is we can say this one, and you can say ref, and we can say latest AMI ID. Okay, we need to choose the instance type. So instance type should be from here. Let's copy this instance type. Let's go and add here. So this is the instance type. So this will also be the same as our instance type here. So we have this instance type parameter, and then we can say ref instance type parameter. Okay, so now let's continue again. So we need to add the key name. So we can go and simply add this key name. And for the instance profile, the AWS identity and access management, or IAM role, that is attached to the instance specified cafe role. So instance profile, let's go and see instance profile. It should be somewhere here. IAM instance profile. So this is it. Let's copy this and let's go and add. But for this, we should use cafe role. Let's have it here. And then in the properties section, include the following line of the code. So we need to add this network interface. Let's copy this and let's go and edit here. Okay, network interface association subnet ID and group set, and it should be CafeSG. Inside this network interface, we have this device index and this one. Inside the subnet ID, we have this one and group set. Okay, network device association subnet. Yeah, it sounds good. And then we need to add a tag. So let's go for tag. Tag should be also somewhere here. So we have this tag. So it should be in this here. And for this tags, we need to provide a key and value. So you can say key, which is basically name, and value, which is basically we need to copy from here, Cafe Web Server. If you see, we should have this key value here. It should be same as this one. Okay, and after that, in the properties section, include the following additional user data. So let's copy this user data and then let's edit in the properties section. Okay, so now we have added the user data also. So it will basically go and run all this when we launch an instance. So before that, like, let's go through the template, what is going on. So here, if you can see, we have added a parameter, instance type parameter. If we don't get any input like from among this, then the default will be selected, t2.small. And then here in the resources section, we created a cafe instance with this logical ID. It will be of type AWS EC2 instance. It has these certain properties. Image ID, it will choose the latest image ID. And the instance type is of the, we will choose from this one. And we are choosing the key name to choose based on the region. If you can see here, region map. So based on the region map, it will choose the key pair. And IAM instance role, we are providing cafe role. And here we have certain network interfaces. So it will use the security group from here and it will use the subnet ID from the previous network, right? So now I think it's time to go and commit this code. Before that, let's validate it. So in order to validate, we can say we can run this code, and here, so we get 3 lists correct, like it's running correctly. If you receive a JSON formatted response that includes the 3 parameters that were defined on top of your template, then your template passed the validation. However, if you receive a validation error, then we should go and check the issue, right? So now let's commit to the Git. So we can say, let's go to Cloud9 again. So let's see Git status. So we have these changes here. And let's say Git add, and let's add templates and cafe app. Okay. And you can say Git commit, and we can say -m, and let's say cafe app initial. Let's push. So when we push this one, so let's go to our pipeline again. Let's go to pipelines, and let's go to this cafe app pipeline. So currently it's the build is failing, but once we commit that, so it should up and running now. Okay, let's wait until that's executed. So return to the code pipeline console and choose cafe app pipeline. So let's wait this. So finally, the deploy is in progress, and let's go to the CloudFormation and let's refresh here. We should have a new stack, update cafe. Let's go to the events. So currently this is create in progress. So here it's creating all this. So whatever logical ID we provided there, we have this cafe instance and cafe SG, right? So let's wait until this job is completed. The deploy is successfully completed. So now let's go to CloudFormation and let's refresh until this is completed. So it successfully creates the cafe instance. So to verify that, let's go to EC2 instance. You can see we have this instance running. One is for the AWS Cloud9, and this was just created by us. Okay, so in the AWS console, confirm the update cafe stack is run successfully and has the status of completion. Okay, it is completed. Also, if you check this CloudFormation output, so we have this web server public IP here. And we have certain parameters like cafe network parameter is update cafe network. Instance type was chosen by default T to small, and it chooses the latest AMI ID. Okay, so let's continue. After the EC2 instance has started and passed both status check, there's the cafe website in the browser tab. Load the following URL where, okay, and you should see the cafe website. So let's go to this CloudFormation. Let's go to this output, and when we execute this, we should be able to see the cafe website /cafe. Currently it's still initializing. Okay, and now we're able to see. You can see this is from the US East 1 zone, right? Okay, so let's continue. We're able to access the website. So now it's time to go for the quiz. So let's go to question number 4. So go to the parameter tab of the update cafe app stack. What values do you see for the latest AMI ID? Let's go to the parameter. So for the latest AMI ID, we see AWS Service AMI, Amazon Linux Image, Amazon 2, AMI, HVM, 64 GP2. 64 GP2. So this is the last option. So go to the stack info of the update cafe app. What is the Amazon resource name ARN of the IAM role that grants the permission to create and update the update cafe app stack? So let's go to CloudFormation. Let's get to stack info. And here you can see that the IAM role is custom CFN role. So this one. So in the AWS Management Console, navigate to the code commit repository where our AWS CloudFormation templates are stored. Choose commit, and in the commit list, open one of the commits by choosing its commit ID. What do you observe? So if I go to the repository, let's go to template, and let's go to commits, and let's choose one of the commit. So here we can see the details as well as what changes did we make, right? So that means details including what lines of the file were changed as a part of the commit and what of the lines contain, right? So let's submit this. Let's submit 5. Let's submit 4. Let's submit 3. Let's submit 2. Let's submit 1. Okay, so we can close this tab. And now let's continue again. We have challenge 4. So in challenge for task 7, we need to duplicate the cafe network and website to another AWS region. So back in the AWS Cloud9 IDE, run the following command to duplicate the Caffe network to another AWS region. So if you can see here, we are trying to duplicate it to the region US West 2. So let's go to Cloud9 instance and let's run this command. So we received a tech ID. Okay. So browse to the AWS CloudFormation console and change the region to US West, US Oregon, US West 2. So let's go to CloudFormation and let's change this to Oregon or US West 2. So we should see the new stack which we just deployed from the CloudFormation, from the Cloud9 instance. So we have this update Caffe network. So currently the create is in progress. Okay. Verify that the status of the second update Caffe region stack eventually changes to create complete. So let's wait until this is completed. It has completed. Let's refresh. Yes, so it's completed. So browse to the Amazon VPC service page and also confirm that you are using the Oregon region. So let's go to the VPC page and let's make sure we are in the US West 2 region. So it's Oregon. Let's go to VPC and we have this Caffe VPC. And we should also have the subnet. So this is the benefit of CloudFormation using templates. Okay. I can close this and let's continue. In the Oregon, create an EC2 key pair named Caffe Oregon. So in the Oregon region, EC2, like if we want to create an EC2, like we need to go to the region. Let's go to US West 2. And let's go to network and security and let's go to key pairs. And currently there is no key pairs. So let's create a key pair. It should be Caffe Oregon. And let's create a key pair. So I don't want to download this because I don't really need it. So let's skip that. But if you are in the production environment, you should save that. Okay, so we've created a key pair. So why do we need this key pair? Because like if you remember in the CloudFormation template, we are saying that if the region is US East 1, we are asking them to use the VOC key. Otherwise, we're asking them to use the Caffe Oregon, right? And let's revisit like, okay, so because of that. And now what we have to do is we need to, in the AWS Cloud9 IDE, copy the template file to an S3 bucket. So we need to go to S3. Let's go to S3. Let's go to S3. Let's open S3. And it's saying that we need to copy the bucket name that's containing repo bucket. So let's look for repo bucket. So it's here. And then we need to copy this bucket. Okay. So let's copy this command. Basically what we're doing is we are copying this template Caffe app.yaml and we're placing it in the bucket. Okay. So let's go to Cloud9. Let's go here. And now in place of this, let's add the bucket name. So let's go to the bucket. So this is the bucket and let's copy this. And then what we can do in the Cloud9 and let's paste and let's press enter. So basically it uploads this Caffe app.yaml into this bucket. So now if I refresh this, so we should see Caffe app.yaml file. So now in the Amazon S3 console, let's copy this object URL. So to do that, let's go to the bucket and let's go to this Caffe app.yaml and I can copy this object URL. And in the AWS CloudFormation console, change the region to US West 2 and there we need to create a stack. So we are in the Oregon region, so it's good. So now we need to go and create a stack. Let's create a stack and with new resources. Okay, so we need to create a stack with the new resources. And in the Amazon S3 URL box, create stack screen, paste the object URL which we just copied. So let's go and paste and let's go in next. So we should have this stack name, enter an appropriate name, then we should choose the T3 micro. Stack name should be, let's say, learn with Pratap, and instance type should be. So if you remember, like these options are coming from this list. So we have this allowed value, right? So it's choosing from these values. Let's go to next and to go into the next and let's submit. So this should basically create a new stack and then we can see the events here. So now this will go and create this security group and it will go and create the instance. So you see, it's go and create the instance. So now if I go to EC2 instances in the Oregon region, so you should see we have this Caffe web server up and running now. Okay, so let's go to the CloudFormation. Let's go to this output. So after the initialization is completed, we can we should be able to run this in our browser. So currently it will not run because it's still initializing. So you see the cafe website is working, and we are currently in the US West 2A, which is in the Oregon region, and this is in the US East 1. So using the same template, we are able to launch an instance in multiple regions, right? So this is the benefit. So without modifying it, like, okay. So this is it from this session. So let's submit. Let's say yes. Let's open the grades. So we create the resources using CloudFormation by using the file, also by using the code commit, right? And we see how the code commit was run. So we scored 30 out of 30 in this challenge lab. So I hope you were able to follow along with me. I also hope that you were able to solve this. And if you're not able to solve, please go through the video, and hope to see you in the next videos. Bye.